how to grow my accounting business. Now, these are tips that I learned from running my six-figure accounting firm, which I started back in 2015. So, been a little bit more than a decade in business. And if I had had these videos when I first got started, it would not have taken me quite as much time to get to where I was. So, number one, when it comes to growing your accounting business, I think there's a lot of misconceptions that people have, because there's a couple different ways you can think about scaling, right? You can think about either going and increasing the number of clients you have, or you can get better quality pricing and better quality clients. Now, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. It's not that you can't get a lot of high quality clients. It's just the way that most people go about getting clients will either attract a high volume of low paying clients or a relatively good volume of high clients. And once you understand how to get high quality, high priced clients, you can of course scale like that, but you gotta get that foundational kind of piece built. Also, if you ever want some help growing your accounting firm the way that I grew it, click the link inside the description either above or below the video to book a call with myself, see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay, so let's attack this thing. So when I'm thinking about pricing focus, right, depending on what services you're going to be offering, there are people that are more price sensitive and people that are more like price elastic. When I think of price sensitive, that's someone that's like, you go to their office, they have like, 20-year-old office furniture. They don't spend money, they don't ever want to upgrade, and they're like very, very, very cheap, right? Think of like a Sam Walton, right? The guy who started like the first Walmart, right? That guy was very cheap, right? He focused only on specific things, but he kept all of his costs super low. Versus, think about a business owner that, you see them, they have like a Lamborghini, they're like, decked out in like designer clothing, designer fashion, they spend like $500 a night on random dinners, they, do bottle service at clubs and stuff like that, right? Those are two totally different types of people. Now, there's not really a right or wrong, right? Generally, this business owner that's spending a lot of money is not going to do quite as well as this person that's like super, super, super frugal. But for our purposes, those are people who are going to need our help, and they're going to appreciate it the most because they need someone to help them understand how to spend so they can spend more where they want, right? So I'm always thinking about who are the people that I'm going to be trying to purchase and who I'm going to be actually working with. Now, within there too, I'm also thinking about going after like really small companies or larger companies. Now, when I say larger companies, I don't mean a large like corporate company, right? A large corporate company, in my opinion, would be a little bit over 100 million to, probably about $250 million per year would be considered like a large company. When I'm saying large for like a solo practitioner to handle. So that's in between about 600,000 to about 5 million. It's kind of that range that you want to be at if you're going to do like some monthly like accounting, monthly bookkeeping services, right? Because those are the ones that have the budget to pay you. They understand like why they need your help. They maybe either not filed tax in a while, or they're just kind of getting overwhelmed with like all the bookkeeping they have. Like maybe they have an office admin in place that's been doing some stuff, but it's just not gonna cut it at the current way they're doing. Just doesn't work, right? So that's why they really need your help, right? So it's really understanding, because a lot of people, they're gonna go after like the startup companies. It's like I think a lot of people like want to help. Like, I want to help the startups. It's like, okay, but before you can help other people, you have to help yourself. Okay, so right now, like I like to give money to like church. I like to give money to people that need it, like situational wise, right? But I could not have been able to donate and like help people out and like do stuff for people if I didn't first have my income situation handled, right? A lot of people who are like the most generous and who like want to help people the most, well, technically the people who want to help people the most usually have the least amount of money. And it's it's unfortunate, right? Because it's like you have a heart of gold, but you gotta go and like be a little bit selfish in the beginning, offer the correct amount of value, and charge according to the value you're gonna be able to bring, and then you can start going back and helping people out, right? So it's like, if you're gonna go and make the most money by bringing the most value, you have to go to a place where your contribution will immediately bring value. So if you think about it, for a $1 million company, right? Let's say that you go and get them like, let's say company's doing about $1 million. If you can get them a 5% increase, that's $50,000. So let's say that you figure out how to make their advertising 5% more effective, so they make more money. Okay, that's $50,000 right there. Let's say you go and make their advertising 5% less expensive. That's another $50,000. So you've already saved them $100,000. Let's say that you then go in and show them how to order inventory correctly so that they get 5% more effective with the inventory. It's another $50,000. It's $150,000 you have just like basically created for this company. Let's say that you then go and help them collect 5% more of their open and outstanding invoices. That's another $50,000. That's $200,000 for extremely basic services that you're providing for them. Right? Versus startup, you grow their company, you do your CFO services, you manage everything, you do their taxes, and all you really saved was like 20 grand, if that. And like that's like the most you could save, right? For $100,000 per year company. So you gotta go after the big ones first to go and like really be able to go and offer stuff for the small ones. Like you can always offer like free stuff for like the small ones, or even like teach them how to do their own bookkeeping until they're to the point to where they can use your services, right? So that's how you kind of think about that. Now, next thing is going to be really understanding your upsell path. So another reason why going after like more established companies is better is because they can use more of your services. If you're offering like bookkeeping, monthly accounting, CFO, tax strategy, tax prep, they can start in by maybe like they come to you because they think they need bookkeeping, but they're really like 3 years behind in terms of doing their books and filing their taxes. Okay, I'm gonna do a cleanup. I'm gonna offer monthly bookkeeping. I'm gonna offer some tax prep, and then once they see how much they paid, because they paid a lot more than what they think they should have. Right now, we can offer tax strategy. Okay, so our cleanup. Let's say our cleanup was $5,000. Probably if you're like 3 years behind, it'll probably be like $10,000. And then the bookkeeping, we'll do that we'll say like $1,000 a month, and then we'll say the tax prep, probably offer like $1,500 for that for the business tax prep. If you're gonna help them file a personal, it's another $300 right there. And then if you're also gonna do the tax planning, it's probably be like about $3,000 on the minimum side. So $3,000 plus we said what $10,000 for the cleanup plus. We'll say they've already done $3,000 of the monthly bookkeeping services plus $1,500 for the business tax return, then about $350 for the personal, federal and state. That's about $18,200 right there from one client. Simple. I don't know if I added in the tax, if I added in the anywhere between $18,000 and $21,000 from one client, just from picking a good lead. And that's not even that big of a lead. That was $1,000 a month bookkeeping client. And that's, after 3 months. That's after 3 months of working with this person. You can get $21,000. That's why you go after a more established company. Again, it's really hard for a company that's doing $100K a year top line revenue to pay you $5,000, right? Because they're probably only going to make anywhere between like 5 to like maybe 30% profit margin. They're going to have to pay taxes, and it's just going to be a train wreck, right? So it's like you got to go after people that are more established. Next thing is going to be about it's really about the upsell path, right? So you have to know what are your upsells. Like someone comes in day number 1, what do they do? What is the next service they can buy? The next service, next service, next service, next service. And the key thing about doing upsells is understand like what is the value you bring to someone, and like what is the next stage of value that a person could really get out of working with you, and just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. That's all this stuff is about. That's all it's about. All it's about. If you can do that, you can like master that, you, my friend, are going to be in a really great position. Cool. Next thing is going to be about sales. Okay, so part of working with a larger client is you have to be better at sales. Now, if you're dealing with like a new startup and like beginner, like yes, like they're just gonna be blown away that you even like talking to them, right? Because if you do it right and you build your authority, people are gonna be like, oh, this person's amazing. I'm so grateful I get to talk to them. No one else wants to talk to me. The CPAs are ignoring me. It's because you're just too small. But when you start talking to companies that are a little bit bigger, they're more willing to spend money. There are going to be a little bit more scrutiny as far as like selection of an accountant or of a bookkeeper, right? And the better the quality company, the more people that are actually reaching out to them to talk to them. Now, that's not a bad thing for you, right? Because if you think about it, most accountants and bookkeepers are not salespeople. That means they don't know what they're doing. So if you have a very good process in place to really introduce yourself and share the value of what you bring, you're going to make more money. So for example, when I'm thinking of a sales consultation call, number 1, I'm thinking of my authority section. So who are you? What's your background? When did you know that you could help people out? Why did you start your business? Why should this person even keep listening to you? Boom, simple. that is going to be the cornerstone of the respect and the trust that you get inside of the relationship, from the sales call to when you guys are working together. Okay, so if you don't know how to build that, like, we do give you like a script of like what to say and how to build it out inside of our program, so that you don't necessarily have to, you know, be afraid when you're trying to create this thing, right? My biggest thing is like every sales call should be able to pay you. I don't want you to like start practicing on your first set of sales calls. One thing that new accountants do is like they don't practice sales, they don't have a script, so like the first like 10 calls they do is just practice. It's like, no, I want you to practice, be prepared, so that the first time you get a client, that's the one that actually goes. Like at one of our students named Melissa, she got a $50,000 cleanup, right? Now, why is that cool? That's cool because that was her first ever client. That was her first ever sales call. What do you mean? Wait, what? Yes, the first time she got on the phone with a real person after doing our program, doing our practice sales, doing our scripts, doing our video call reviews, everything. Her first sale, she got $50,000. You don't have to be wasting good leads on practice if you have the right things in place. If you're doing this stuff on your own, yes, you're gonna be practicing. Just being honest. It took me 36 sales calls in order to get my first client. 36. Now, for me, I was okay like getting in front of people. They weren't the best quality people, I'll admit, and like I didn't really know what I was doing. But I was very tenacious, right? So I can get in front of people. I was hustling. Now, if you don't have that ability to hustle like I did back when I was first getting started 10 years ago, then you have to be better, right? It's either you can be unskilled but aggressive and just constantly moving and pushing, or you have to be skilled and you can kind of be more relaxed. Most people, what I see is like they're unskilled and they're relaxed. You know, it's not really your fault, right? Because it's like you're working a full-time job. You might not have all the extra energy to do all that stuff, right? So it's like you gotta get skilled before you start really kind of like thinking about growing your business. Now, the next part, when it comes to like really understanding about sales, is learning how to build value, right? Because the value that you can communicate will actually determine how skillful a person thinks you can have. Now, a lot of people, what they do is like they just start spewing a bunch of like techno babble. Like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to use this code. I'm going to use a 179 here. I'm going to actually go and use like the we'll say like just different codes and different like tax credits available. A person like, oh. And I learned this because I was one time I was sitting with a client. She was a fitness coach, and it was like after her long day at work, and she was doing both working a corporate job and something, and then she was also, you know, doing a gym. And I had to come and sit down with her and kind of explain some stuff with her QuickBooks, and she literally zoned out on me. I was like, oh, like her eyes glazed over. She did not care. She did not care, and I was like, oh wow. If that's happening and this person's already paid me, imagine what's happening to people on the sales call when I'm trying to explain what I do. Because I was so happy, I was so proud of myself that, like, you know, I knew what I was doing and I was just trying to show my value, right? But showing your value is not through the complicated way of explaining what you're doing and why it's important. It's learning how to understand what another person feels is valuable and communicate in very simple 3rd to 5th grade English how you're going to help them out, and then giving them a reason like, why is this important that you're going to be getting this thing done, right? It's kind of like imagine like a plumber. Like a plumber generally is not going to tell you, okay, so I have to go turn this pipe with this size wrench with this thing and this thing and this thing, right? They're like, okay, what's happening? You're like, my toilet is clogged up. It smells really bad. It's not good. They're like, okay, cool. I'm going to unclog your toilet. Like, cool. And I'm going to do it this. And the reason why I'm going to do this is just because it's not going to smell bad anymore, right? You're like, done. Let's go, right? They don't have to explain all the stuff. They don't have to explain all the technicals. They don't have to explain anything. It's just, you have this problem. I'm going to solve this problem. This is why it's important. Let's go. And if you learn how to do that in your bookkeeping sales calls, you're going to be extremely, extremely valuable. And people are going to respect what you do. And you're going to feel like, wow, I'm saying less and less, but they're respecting me more and more. It's very interesting when you do that. Like when I was first getting started, I was just talking about just random stuff on my call. But once I learned what to say, like how to really communicate value, it was like, it almost felt too easy. Let's just say like that. Like it felt too easy. It's like, wait, what? All I said I said like 3 sentences. It took me under 2 minutes to explain my value, and the people were ready to go. I was like, oof, that's a cheat code. right? And then also when you can start learning how to pre-handle objections. That's learning how to handle objections while it's a conversation in a very subliminal way, and a very just kind of like soft, easy, unaggressing, unassuming way, so the business owner does not feel threatened, does not feel like you're attacking them, and feels very respected and will tell you the truth, right? If we're always waiting until after we've dropped our price and said, okay, this cleanup is going to be $3,000 or $5,000, and the person's like, I don't like that. And now you start trying to objection, like, well, you need a bookkeeper, and like, you need this, like, they're going to lock up on you and you're not going to close them, right? But instead, if you can explain, like, hey, this bookkeeping stuff is not going to be the cheapest, product on the market, but, if we can do blah, 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 then this would be worth it for you. Does that make sense? I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. And you handle these objections before it's a problem. If you can preemptively solve a problem before it comes up, it will not come up as a problem. It won't. Okay, that's why we have these easy sales, because there's no arguments. We just know what to say. It's about being skilled, right? So when you can price things correctly, when you know what your service mix and your service ladder is, when you know how to build value on the call and then handle objections before they become a problem, you're gonna grow your accounting business. Okay, so hopefully that this question was answered. Hopefully you learned something new. If you want some more help and some further help, click the link inside the description either above or below the video to book a call with myself. Let's see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Take it easy.